welcome back. We are back with another episode of Podcast Desu, episode number 17. Now, I want to say a big thank you for everybody that's on live on Kick that we are doing this as well. But also, anybody, if you're watching this on YouTube. So we got a lovely show today, continuing from the previous episode. I'm just talking about people that have experienced baby metal recently for the first time ever. I'm just talking about their experiences, how hyped they are, just generally a really, really, really good, just wholesome chat. I got some awesome people with me today from different parts of the world, which is why the time in for this one's a little bit earlier than we usually do it, but pretty damn cool anyway. And big thank you, like I said, for everybody able to join us. So one of my guests today is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. FunnyToss. How you doing, my man? Not a problem, my man. Also, I bumped into him on the street. He held me up, said that he needed to be on the next episode of the podcast, otherwise he would defriend me forever. We got Mr. Good Lifer. How you doing, my man? So he didn't really help. And also as well, we got a new person. This is I think Baz's first time on here. But how are you doing, Baz? Lovely to have you on, my man. Oh, they can only hear me. Oh shit!
I was just about to say
that's good. That a lot of people haven't spoken yet, isn't it? So they should be able to hear you now. That's my fault. Didn't change the setting. But we just said hi to Funny. Funny said hi. Good said hi. Baz says hi. We're gonna go round. We're gonna go round so you guys can tell a little bit about yourself. We'll start with Funny first, and then we'll go around and just tell us a little bit about yourself, guys.
Right, then I'll start. So, hello everyone, I'm FunnyToss, or Steven. So I've been a Baby Metal fan since early 2020. I learned about them through YouTube reaction videos, actually, so thanks to Neon for spreading the word. And so I had the unfortunate timing, like many other people, I think, of learning about them just as the pandemic hit. And so, we know how that went. But I finally got to see them live for the first time in Taiwan last month. So actually, wait. Oh, it was this month. Oh, wow. Time flies. But I'm very pumped to be able to talk about that. And thanks for having me on.
So you're welcome, man. And obviously, like I said, a lot of people in the chat will know Mr. Good Lifer. But for those that don't, my man, tell us a little bit about yourself and the gig that you went to see.
Well, can I say first how I found them?
Yeah.
In a couple words.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I was one of that huge wave that found BABYMETAL during COVID, obviously, because, we were just sitting at home doing nothing. And I was just, I found this thing called YouTube Reactions, and I found this amazing person. Am I pointing in correct direction, I hope? Yeah, and basically... I randomly found Road of Resistance, and my head was just instantly like, I've never seen anything like this. And then I found out that reactions exist. I started watching them. I found your reactions, and well, the snowball started. Foxhole, hello. Yeah.
So, nice one. And we also have as well Mr. Baz. Tell us a little bit about your journey towards Baby on them. How did you discover them, and where did you see them recently?
I think the first time I heard anything Baby Metal related was probably on like a Guitar Hero game, like a modded song that I downloaded back in like 2017, 2018. And it was Gimme Chocolate. So I heard that and I'm like, it's interesting, but I wasn't really like ready to dive into it at that point. But then late 2019, I started to get really into their music with Metal Resistance, listening to that, found the reactions, found Baby Metal Tube, found Neon Stream, found everyone and just dove into the rabbit hole. And 4 years later, finally got to see them live in Melbourne, and it was amazing. Love it so much.
Nice one. So I think that was quite lucky for me personally. I feel for you guys a little bit because like when I first discovered Baby Metal, I actually managed to see them in Manchester, like literally I think it was like a week or 2 weeks before the literal world went to shit. So I was very, very lucky. So I feel for you guys that have like discovered them and had to wait so long to see them. Did that like enhance the experience for you guys, knowing that you had to wait so long, or was that like torture a little bit? Like, come on. Who wants to take
I'll
the
start,
one?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
Go
know
on. Funny.
how we should answer, these questions. So I'm just gonna jump in, but I think it actually might have made the experience better. In a sense, just like before Christmas, the build up to Christmas oftentimes is what makes it feel special and all that. I think part of it is just that because they were sealed away for like an entire year, right? And at that point, we didn't really even know they would be back, and so to make that time go by easier, to me, I'd already kind of put away any hope that they would come back just in case. So when they did, like basically that time didn't feel like a long time because I didn't have this feeling that they would definitely be back. So in a sense, the wait didn't feel that long. I don't know if that makes sense. But...
Yeah, no, I know, I get that. It was around that period where we were like, they went on hiatus, wasn't it? And we were like, are they coming back? Aren't they coming back? Like, people panic stations indeed. So what about for you, Good? Was that like, because you obviously like you fell quite deep alongside myself and a few others that in the Chord and the Baby Metal Discords and that. Hello, big shout out to you guys in the foxhole. Was the wait harder for you because of that?
Well, the thing is, after seeing probably all Baby Metal live shows that exist, starting from 10, 11 Sakura Gakuin times till now, well, you can see that they have changed a lot. And I realize now it would be cool to see them like in 2014, at that period. And, for first experience, I think it would be less fun to see them in 2018 when they were like changing and, some not good stuff happened with them. And I would say I'm quite happy that I got to see them first time now because it was their first time after a long break returning to Europe. And I think they wanted themselves to prove that we're still good. We still can do this. And the effort they did was like, I saw many videos. I saw them doing 100% quality job. But even there, even when they were like just not an opening band as a special guest, they did 100% what they could, even more. I really enjoyed this, and I think it was pretty good first impression to see them live. So I'm quite happy. Yeah, you cannot change past. Yeah, I couldn't see them because I didn't know them, but now I think it was perfect timing, really.
Yeah. What about you, Baz? Like you just said, you took a slightly different journey from the rest of us leading up to that. So did it feel like just like another band to you that you were going to see, or was there like a certain expectation or hype around it when you did go and see them?
I wasn't just seeing another band. Like unfortunately, when I first got into them, I just missed one of the tours they did with a festival here, Good Things or whatever. So I literally just missed them a couple months after. But no, I think there's such a lore and like presence just around baby metal as a whole, whether it's the music, the performances, or the artists. There's such this outstanding presence, and even like Good said, watching all the old concerts back from like Sakura Gakuin times up to 2014, 15, 16, 2018 when like you said, we had the Metal Galaxy and some things were not good and some people liked it. There's still always been this presence around their performances, and going to see them live, it just solidified it as they're just genuinely some of the best performers in the world, not just in their genre, but just as a whole. So I think, they went out, gave it 110% in a city that they'd never headlined before. They killed it, and I just, even though they've been around for 11, 12, 13 years now, they've still got such a long career ahead of them, given how well they can still perform. Yeah. Especially after that long hiatus.
Oh yeah, they're still relatively long. I do want to touch on a little bit. Both you and Good both mentioned Metal Galaxy and obviously that little period where they were two girls on the Avengers and a little bit all over the place. Is that something you would agree with, Funny? Like, you seen them for the first time. Are you glad you didn't see them in that period and got to see them in this period now, more cemented?
I think so. Yeah, I think part of it is just, how would I put it? Part of it is just that I really love the songs on the new album, and so being able to hear them now. Of course, this is after the new album exists, I think it's a good mix just because, I mean, look, if I saw them in 2016 or 2017, I'm sure I would have had a blast too. But I think the diversity of styles is even stronger now, I think, than it might have been in 2015, for example, where there's a higher percentage of, cute and bubbly songs, which is great. Like, at my show, for example, they had BMC and they had also metalism, and they mixed that with ENA, and that's
Yeah.
just complete, like, whiplash. And so I think that's something special about hearing them now in 2023, that I really appreciated. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think now is a perfect time. If you've never seen them before, definitely go see them when they tour around the world this year.
Yeah. All right. So let's touch on to the shows themselves then. It'd be nice to hear from each of you the sets of each of the girls, your impressions, your maybe give us a little bit of a story for those listening about your experiences leading up to the gig, going into it, and what you saw, how you felt, all those kind of things. I think we'll start with Mr. Baz first. We'll go the opposite way again. What was that like for you? What was your kind of like mindset kind of going into this, and how did you feel after?
Mindset going into it, I was tired because the line was ridiculously long. And not only did I wait in the line to get in, I waited in the line to get merch out the front. They didn't have the t-shirt that I wanted, so I got a stubby holder, went back into the regular line, lined up, got inside, went back into the merch line again, and then got in. So I got my beer and sat down. The show as a whole was great. I think for the Australia tour, they got Relica to open up for us, and pretty small Australian band, but they were brilliant. So it was a great choice for them to bring them along. Amazing energy from their side. The set list we had was Baby Metal Death to open up, Megitsune, Ine, Shanty Shanty Shanty, which was a massive surprise. Maya, Mirror Mirror, BMC, Monochrome Distortion, Papaya, Gimme Chocolate, Road of Resistance, and then they finished on Metal Kingdom and IDZ. And I think from start to end, like every song just hit me with goosebumps. It was fantastic. It wasn't quite like obviously going back and watching their old stuff with some of like Ine or Gimme Chocolate or anything like that. But like just the fact that it had that vibe, that like, they have that identity back where there's three of them, and that's when they're best on stage. It felt amazing. No stories, but honestly, it's just a great gig. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
The set list was fantastic.
Can you like, when you obviously you just touched on then the girls and obviously a little bit how they matured, does it make you like when you saw them live, obviously performing some of the older songs you said you don't listen to as much as some of the newer ones, does that bring like a fresh perspective to like those songs when you see them live and see how they're performed now?
It definitely does. The energy's still fantastic. The songs themselves, like as much as they're more built towards that like kawaii like style that they first like really broke in with, they still age so well, even despite the fact them performing this at like 23, 24 years old. It's still great. The routines are still fantastic, and the songs just they fill the arena with energy. It's fantastic.
Oh, nice one, man. Thank you. Mr. Good, you traveled quite a way for yours, didn't you? So how did
Wait, what do you mean?
so you saw them in Vienna, didn't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite a mission for you, wasn't it?
No, it's a 50-minute train from me, so...
Okay. I got this picture in my head that you traveled like miles. All right, maybe not then. Maybe I need to brush up on my geography.
We were actually joking with Teresa. She's from Austria, I'm from Slovakia, but I'm closer to Vienna. I'm closer to venue than she was. So I was actually the closest one. Like, we had people who traveled a lot there, and this is what I wanted to tell. This experience is not just the concert. It was the whole meeting people from all over the world. And I tried to make a difference, like somewhere in my head. Like, so I just cannot tell about the show only because it was not like a separate thing. It was all combined. Like, we had about 10 or more than 10 people. Like, we had Alan from States. We had Merck's Baby Metal Tube from Colombia. We had people from different countries in Europe, just so many. And meeting all of them in live, like in real life, and discussing all this stuff. I don't have anyone here IRL to discuss baby metal. Now all these people I talk online are there, so it's hard for me to tell just about the concert. It's all this experience is great, but like, okay, let me try to focus on the show. So they opened for Sabaton. We didn't have a full show. It was just 8 songs, I think. So yeah, they started Baby Metal Death, Megitsune. I know they ended with Road of Resistance, and out of new songs, we had Maya, which I was extremely happy. It's really one of the best from the album. Monochrome, obviously, like what can you tell about this? Yeah, we had Papaya, and a big thank you to Leafy, who gave me a towel that I could be a part of this crazy. Yeah. I think distortion as well, it's just like, it's all so mixed in my head that I don't think I really remember the whole set list. I just, I told myself I will not spend all the time just filming it. I just hide my phone. I'm enjoying the process. I broke this one, so when they did give me chocolate, I had to film like 10 seconds just so I have it. Yeah. And yeah, great time.
Damn. Yeah, well, that's part of the experience, isn't it? Is the people as well. Like you said that so well, it makes me want to be there. I
was amazing.
And then obviously to meet everybody else there as well, like you said, Alan and Baby Metal Tube as well from Colombia, like everybody there. I was like, I really wish, like, if I'd known so many people were going to that one, I should have been there. And I'm gutted about that. But yeah, no, absolutely, sort of like amazing experience. Was there any songs or anything that like really stuck out for you, that like you really kind of enjoyed live more than you thought you would, or was it all about the new songs and just vibing up every single one of them?
I think there was one song that I wanted to hear so much live, just because, as I told before, it was the first one I heard from them ever in my life. So my meeting Baby Metal was Road of the Resistance live, and they ended set with it. So I felt like the full circle completed. So, like, I just realizing from randomly seeing them on YouTube with this song, now I see the same song live, just standing in front of stage, listening to this insane drums. Yeah. Also, sorry, I may forget about this later. I want to say big thank you for them to actually put Kami band close to girls. We saw the whole band together, not just girls and musicians are hidden somewhere in basement. No, they were actually on stage, and they were interacting with like girls, with like people. And yeah, I appreciate musicians a lot on the same level as girls, obviously. And just listening to this drums live and just seeing it, like not just listening but seeing it, that was amazing. Yeah. Great time.
I think we'll touch on that a little bit later, because that is certainly one of the things I most dislike about Baby Metal, is the way that they've hidden the way the Kami band as of late. But we'll touch on that in a bit. Funny, tell us about your experience in Taiwan, man, which must have been an absolute banging place to go and see them. How was that for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were supposed to get their first solo show in 2020, and of course, that was canceled at the last minute. I think just to touch, but to agree with what everyone else said, it's not just about the show. It's about before and after, as you hang out with friends, because most of us in real life, we don't have friends that care about Baby Metal. Most of our friends are online, and it's the same for me. But it was kind of interesting because, like, I spend most of my time in the English-speaking community, but that's not the case. That's not most of the people that went to this show that I was at. We do have in Taiwan, actually, Facebook is still fairly popular. So, and some other groups similar to Telegram or Line groups. So I'm not really an active part of the Taiwanese community. That community hasn't really been very active until after this show. So it was kind of dead, beforehand. So I didn't really know that many people in real life going in, and it was really surreal. So our venue, you can imagine, it was part of it was actually in a department store, and that floor, a 7th floor ZEP, so half of that floor was a movie theater, and then the other half was the ZEP New Taipei venue. So I go up there, And as soon as I exit the elevator, the first thing I'm like, is this the right place? And I see everyone there is wearing a Baby Metal t-shirt. And some people are wearing face paint and all that. I'm like, yep, this is the right place. Like, I could swear, like, I could see people walking into, getting off the elevator onto the floor, watch a movie, right? And they're just walking past, and I totally see them just like, oh, this is totally a cult, man. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? Yeah, and it was a really fun experience just to realize that everyone here is my people. Like, everyone here is in this cult, and that's an experience you never get most of the time. And the second part that was particularly interesting is because we're so close to Japan. We're about 3 hours away from Tokyo by flight. And so I would estimate actually about 1/3 of the crowd. So we had about around over 2,000 people at our venue. It wasn't a very big venue. I'd estimate around 1/3 of all the fans were actually from Japan. The thing is, like, when you look at people on first glance, like, it's not easy to tell if someone's Japanese or Taiwanese at first glance. So like, people are walking around and like, when they see you, they don't really know whether to speak to you in Chinese, in English, or Japanese. So like, I made a new friend there, and at first, he comes up to me. He first speaks to me in Japanese, and I speak to him in Japanese. And it takes us, we talk for like 5 minutes before we realize, oh, we're both Taiwanese. And then we start speaking in Mandarin. Yeah, so I think that was really fun. I think there are some interesting quirks about the East Asian or the Taiwanese community that's a little bit different from the, let's say, Western European or South American communities that I normally interact with.
Yeah.
Like, I think different fandoms, they tend to latch on to different things. That makes for a different experience. So let me illustrate, what I mean. Like, so in Taiwan, there's always J-pop, or J-dramas have always been a big thing. And so the reason why I said, I thought the fandom felt a little bit dead here is because most of them were here during the cute era, the Yui era, the classic era, when they did a lot of cute songs. The last time they were here before Super Slip-Up in 2019 was 2014, actually, and they performed, together with another band.
Yeah.
So we had that. So they play up the marketing and everything for them in Taiwan. In particular, tends not to be about metal, because metal, no one cares about metal in Taiwan. It's very, very not mainstream. A lot of people care about J-pop. The way the band has been marketed is much more J-pop. So, for example, there's that famous television show where they drew drawings, they ate cake, and they opened a mystery box with a frog in it. So that was actually a Taiwanese TV show, just to give you an impression of the way in which a lot of Taiwanese fans learned about the band wasn't through metal music, but it's just through variety, through J-pop. So I say all this just to say that in the crowd, there were like 5 people like wearing frog hats in the crowd, just so Sue would see it, and so she would smile and have a good time, because that's what we're famous for, right? The Taiwanese frog show. And so I think that was a lot of fun. And so just because, like I said, there's so many Japanese people too.
Yeah.
In a sense, it felt like being at a Japanese show, but not like a huge arena show where you can't see the girls up close. You get kind of a mix. You get full in sync because, like, exactly what to do. It's not like at the support tour where maybe, you get a few crazy Baby Metal fans up in the front who are just like waving towels like crazy, and all the Sabaton fans in the back are like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys, right? At our venue, everyone knows what to do. It's crazy. Like, you ask me, what's it like seeing them? I've seen them on Blu-ray and seen them on YouTube for 3 years now, and now I'm watching them. The fun thing is, exactly what to do, and it really is a crowd participant. Like, I don't know how to explain this. I wrote about it a little bit in my blog, but I still can't explain it. It felt like we were performing for them.
Yeah.
My arm is getting tired and all that, but I have to wave that talon papaya because that's what you do. If you don't do that, you failed them. You're performing for them. And I think that's what makes it so much fun. So we were our crowd was so ridiculously in sync, like when to shout and all that.
Yeah.
Then when the new songs came on, though, sometimes we're just like, I'm not exactly sure where to get hyped. But I think that was good. That was good. Because in the new songs, we mostly just kind of stood there and chilled.
Yeah.
And just let it soak it in, So I like the set list. Our set list was basically the same as the Australia set list.
Yeah.
They had a good mix. They had the older songs with crowd interaction, doing hey, hey, and hype up, and then running around. But they also had the new songs where there's no real call and response sections. So you just kind of stand there and just enjoy the music and Sue's voice, blasting you. So I think overall, just, the new shows were have a very good mix of different elements, and the crowd in Taiwan was also a very good, interesting mix, of elements. A lot of J-pop people from Taiwan and a lot of metal people, from Japan. Yeah, I had a good time for sure.
Man, that sounds amazing. Is there any particular point of the show that like really hit home for you? Like for example, like when I seen them, that one moment where Sue sings Monochrome, and then I had to take like it was like the only time in the show that I had to like peel my eyes off Sue for like 2 seconds, and I'm looking around, and you get like goosebumps because everybody's got their phones out, and then you just see Sue doing that little humming part she does in the middle of Monochrome, and you're just like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna sound like a cliche, but honestly, like almost every single moment, like I said, I've watched almost all their videos.
Yeah.
And there really is a magic about the live experience that you don't see on the pro shot, and I think that part is just, I think, you can tell they're having fun on the Blu-rays, but that really comes through during the live performance, especially for older songs like "Give Me Chocolate." Like you don't see this on the pro shot just because I don't know their philosophy, but just like Sue is making faces, like silly faces, constantly, like throughout the entire song. I think just because she's so familiar with it that she doesn't have to think about it. Everything comes naturally. So the entire time, whenever you see her, she's got a different funny face, And so at the live show, I stood on the MOA side, maybe about 3 rows behind barrier, and honestly, I didn't know where to look. Because every moment I spent looking somewhere, I felt like it was a moment wasted not looking somewhere else, So I stood there when Moa's here, I'm looking at her, but then I want to see Sue, and then I want to see Momoko, and then I hear Anthony Barone killing those drums. I want to see him. So like, you just feel like your attention is going everywhere, and everywhere it's just like it's such a waste. So in the end, you just realize, don't worry about it. Just go with the feeling, And so that's how it works. You can't try to grab onto everything at the show. You just have to let the wave take you, or else you're gonna just think too much about what you're missing. You just gotta enjoy it for what it is, and then it's gone.
Yeah. Oh, wow, thanks, man. That was really in depth. I really appreciate that. We're gonna come back. We're gonna go back round circle again. We're gonna come back to Baz. I'm gonna put you on the spot, my man. How was your anticipation for Momoko coming into this? Probably as the person least involved in the band itself, more about the music. Were you really kind of looking at Momoko under the microscope a little bit, or were you just more there to appreciate the whole band a little bit? What did you think of her performance coming into it?
I think Momoko, like I'd already known Momoko was announced as the official third, because Lucky'd probably send me something, and I saw it in like the Facebook groups that I'm in, because
she was
like
in my she was in my DMs screaming, "It's official!"
Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Yui again," and I'm like, "No, they're gonna announce Momoko as the third." But I saw her there and on Facebook, and then I didn't really have her under a microscope. Momoko had been doing this as a spare third for years now. At this point, there's no need to really sort of have that microscope on her, have that eye on her. She sort of just fits right in with everything else. All that matters is that she enjoys what she's doing. She does the dance. She does the sing. She brings the same energy that any other of the backups would have done, but now she's doing that in that full-time position. She works perfectly in it. I have no complaints.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Good? Coming into this, did you have a favorite kind of coming in? Did you pay a little bit more attention to Momoko, or were your eyes fully set on Moa?
I mean, you already know the answer to this question.
I know, but I gotta ask it anyway, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But seriously, so the thing is, we all knew about this show after it was almost sold out. So all the people who went there for BABYMETAL, we couldn't get front row, except for somehow Alan got it. I think Paul has something to do with it. I don't know. So most of us, we were not in the first, but like a second part. And on the right side, we couldn't pick it. So it was only available like second front on the right. And thanks Fox God, it was exactly where Moa was in front of us. So I was happy. But the thing is, they were switching all the time. So yeah, obviously Moa in front of me. I don't care about anything else. But then when they're switching, I could actually look at Sue a bit, Momoko. And I actually noticed something comparing to first appearance of Momoko, that she actually seemed much more confident. because I don't know, personally, me when I saw first time when they had extra girls filling for you, they seemed like they were doing everything perfect, but they didn't seem that confident on stage. Like Sue and Moa, like yeah, I own it. This is my show. Like I'm the most important person. And the third girl was always like, yeah, like a sidekick. I'm helping you. Yeah, I'm also cool. I can dance as well. But here it felt like all of them were equals, and this is so great to see. And I think Momoko actually, we saw every time we saw her appearing, and the crowd shouted so much. When during Baby Metal Death, when they're saying their lines, it was like all the time quiet, but every time Momoko, everyone's like, yes! So like she felt this support from people. I hope it helped her to feel more confident. And yes, I'm equal. I can do the same. I get the same love as they do. And yeah, she was absolutely perfect. Nothing bad to say.
Yeah. What about you, Funny? Coming into this one, did you have your eye a little bit more on Momoko for this gig, or coming in obviously for the first time? Did you were all eyes on Sue?
Well, I've always said that I don't have like a favorite member, but at the same time, I will say that I obviously have a deeper love for Sue and Moa compared to Momo, of course, just because we haven't had the time to get to know Momo as much. So, for example, we don't even actually have a single interview with Momo yet. I'm guessing that after the Wow Wow shows for the Clear Night and her official appearance is made on TV, then we might start seeing them. My point is that yeah, I haven't had the time to get to love her as much as the other two, but that wasn't really the reason why that wasn't the main reason why I chose the Moa side. That was just the side that was closer to the stage. But realistically, I think the thing I want to share about them is that so obviously I did see, Moa more than Momo just because I was on that side, but like we said, they do switch sides a lot. And I think something that really struck me is that like whenever they do the whole crowd interaction parts, they're looking into the crowd, they're waving at you and stuff like that. Whenever their eyes meet you, it feels like they're looking right at you. Now, they're not necessarily actually looking at you, but that's a skill that really good performers have. They make it feel like in that moment they are seeing for you. It's a really magical skill that's very hard to do. And when Momo did it, she could do it just as well as Sue and Moa did. There's a magic there that I can't really explain, but again, that's just the power that really good stage performers have. They make the show feel personal, even though it's not. They see a crowd of hundreds of thousands of faces, night after night, but the fact that they can still make you feel special when they see you, the illusion of feeling special, that's a real skill, and she has it just as much as Sue and Moa does. So I'll be honest in that I don't love her as much as the other two yet, but that's just because I know it's because we haven't had the chance to get to know her. So I'm really looking forward to that. Other people who don't know me maybe is that I do translate a lot of the Baby Metal interviews. And so, when there's going to be one coming forward, I'm oftentimes one of the first to read it and internalize what they're actually saying and turn it into English. And so that's a big part of what helped me love Sue, Yui, and Moa so much. So I have absolutely no doubt that Momo is going to have that same special place in my heart, eventually. But performance-wise, absolutely, no complaints. Same as everyone else said. She does her job just as well as anyone else. It reminds me of the young Yui and Moa, where they have that something to prove kind of energy. Like Sue and Moa are pros in a good way, but also in the bad way, in that they don't have that same naivety. But Momo still kind of has that. And so there's a special energy, and then she gives that energy back to Sue and Moa at the same time. So I think, like I said before, I keep saying that 2023 right now is the perfect time, I think, to go see them. So I felt that for sure. She's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant, man. Well, we'll touch on the album a little bit that's just come on, and I'd like to get your three guys' opinions of the other one. Obviously, it's not classed as an album. They kind of say it's like an EP or a spin-off album. Kind of, I'd like to get your thoughts on that, and just tell me, give me a quick summary of the album. Like, what were your favorite bits? Maybe not so favorite bits. What did you like the most? And we'll take it from there. We'll go the other way around now. So I'll put Funny on the spot yet again. What did you think of the? Yeah, I know. What did you think of the album as a whole, man?
Let's see. So I did follow the snippets of the album when it was still being posted in the virtual gallery, and like most people, I had no idea what was going on. But if you listen to the snippets, you could tell that a lot of it felt really heavy. That's because they didn't really add Sue's voices to it later on. And to be honest, at first, that didn't give me a lot of confidence because I know a lot of people like to hear the heavy. To me, like that's a big part of baby metal, but like that's not really what makes them special. There are plenty of heavy bands out there. What makes them special is that contrast. Like just as an example, and now we're going to start getting to unpopular territory. But my least favorite baby metal song is Sis Anger. And I don't think it's just because it's their heaviest song. It's because there aren't as many vocal melodies in it. It's more kind of the yelling style of singing. And so my style is I like the melodies. So for example, I actually really like Light and Darkness on the song, and I know this is unpopular too, but because I love the melody, of the chorus especially. So I think I liked the way that the album ended up. I liked how the melodies were a lot stronger and more noticeable and easy to sing along than I thought it would be in the previews. And yeah, no, it's an album where I really enjoy listening to it from front to back, like in order. Most of the time, I listen to Baby Metal like most people. It's always the live concert versions. I'll have like the New Year Fox Festival version or the Legend S version. And at the concerts, of course, they have a mix of old and new, and stuff like that. But for the other one, I like listening to from front to back. It feels very coherent compared to the other albums. And I like how it works. So overall, I don't think there's a single song that I don't like, actually. My sorter is crazy. It looks different every single time. I think at the top are like Monochrome and Believing are always in the top two.
Yeah.
And then everything else kind of comes after that. Yeah.
Oh, nice, Mr. Good. What was your overall take and feeling of the album when it came out?
First of all, they may call whatever they want to call it. No, it's a normal album. Not special, not something. No, this is just a new, good, amazing, wonderful album. So let's just end here, okay? Okay. And about the songs, so I've listened to this new album for about 1,000,000 times, probably like several times every day since it was released. And you know what? Every single time after finishing it, I was like, okay, that is my new favorite song from album. Next time I'm listening to it, no, this is my new favorite song. And still, honestly, I have no idea which song I like most. And there is not a single song that I can say that, okay, I can skip it. No, just it goes perfectly together. They did a very good job with order of the songs. And the ending with saxophone, so come on, this is just something mind-blowing. Yeah. And if I think more, I came to being a baby metal fan from this more heavy metal side, heavy music. I know a lot of people found baby metal from J-pop side, and we kind of meet each other. So, we love the same band with people we usually would not share same musical taste. So, and something interesting happened. From new album, I would say I most enjoy actually chiller songs, Light and Darkness, Time Wave. So, like obviously Believing, cool. But honestly, somehow they made a metalhead love almost dance, pop, techno music. I cannot explain it. I would never. Yeah, well, everything baby metal do you cannot explain. This is it just hits you somehow. So, yeah, I think they're just doing some kind of revolution in music, honestly. Every time new album is something new, it's a new trend. They're not just following something that's popular. They make it popular, and great respect for them.
Oh, nice one, man. Very well summed up. So, Baz, you've got a top act to follow, man. What was your thoughts on the album, man? Kind of coming into it, and what are your thoughts, obviously, with that album in your head after?
It's not an actual album.
Oh, straight off the bat.
It genuinely
Fight!
from an instrumentalist and just an artist sort of perspective, it does very much feel like like something like it's not an actual thing, but like a prototype album, in the sense that the songs feel like they vary from different eras. Some of the songs have the instrumentalists, like the instrumentals from original Baby Metal self-title. Some feel like they're from Metal Resistance, and some do feel like they're from Metal Galaxy. Personally, Maya is my favorite. That song is just straight in through it the entire time, and the live intro is ridiculously insane. If you ever get to hear the live version, they have like this beating synth through it, and it just blends in perfectly. Good, I think, mentioned the sax ending for the Legend.
Yeah,
It's fantastic. Something we haven't heard from them at all. Definitely an underrated song.
whoever decided to put sax
yeah,
in that needs a pay raise, by the way.
100%,
So good.
100%. It fits so well, and it fits the tone of the song. Monochrome is definitely probably the most popular song on the album. It helps that it was a single as well. Personally, I don't like metalism that much. I don't know if that's a hot take. I haven't really paid attention to many chats. I don't like the chorus at all. It annoys me.
Yeah, fair enough.
But like, yeah, Believing is great. Mirror Mirror is great. Metal Kingdom's fantastic. More often than not, out of the 10 songs, 8 or 9 of them are fantastic.
Yeah,
The other ones are just, they're good.
they're good.
But I think that's the thing with Baby Metal as well. They don't do anything that isn't good. Okay, other than Future Metal, hot trash. That's not even. We're not even counting that as a song. Hot garbage. I don't care what any fan says. Biggest piece of dump they've released. Deal with it. Other than that, everything is good or above. So like an 8 or above. But the album's fantastic. I'm very interested to see what comes next, because like I said, that didn't feel like a proper album that we've had in the past. It definitely feels like a transitional sort of thing, just to sort of get people into being like, oh, okay, look, they're still making their music. Let's reel them in with something, and let's see what happens from here. I'm very excited to see what happens.
Yeah,
it's going into a good space.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect segue to talk about what I wanted to talk about with you guys as well, kind of like looking forwards and stuff, because I definitely feel like, again, pure speculation, nobody will ever know, but it definitely feels like these songs were written, done, recorded probably during COVID time or round about then. Obviously, none of the album features Momoko either. You've got to probably think how long they probably had that, knowing that was going to happen. So it would be. Where do you guys think the sound will end up going for the next album? Then obviously you're gonna have Momoko. You'd like to think that Momoko will obviously be given a mic for that and have some vocals and stuff like that for the next album. There's always the possibility it might not be black baby metal per se, but there's always a possibility of a Moa or Momoko combination, or even just them maybe doing a song each or something like that. We don't know how it's going to pan out. But where do you in your minds kind of see the future for baby metal, and what kind of sound and maybe vibe they're going to go for? Should we start off with Funny? We'll go around again. Yeah, why not?
I mean, we could definitely, switch it up. Like, it's all.
Okay. I'll pick on Good then. Good. There you go. You get first.
I figure Good is always in the middle. He's
always in the middle. He's always in the middle. We'll pick on Good.
Can Good go first if you want?
I'm fine in the middle.
We'll pick on Good then. Good, you can go first. What are your thoughts on that then? And then obviously the album moving forward. What would you like to see, or where do you think it's kind of going?
Okay, so for a second, let's try to remember what were our thoughts when we heard rumors that they're doing a new album and we got snippets. We all tried to guess how it will sound, what it will be like. Everyone failed. I don't think anyone could predict correctly. So yeah, we are just we can have assumptions, but we will never guess. They're too unpredictable with everything they do. So I guess we can only say what we would love to hear. And so personally, I don't think they will have solo Moa songs or solo Momoko songs. And I think if they wanted to go this way, they would have some of it on this album. So I don't feel like they will do this. I think they want to keep Sue as main person and center. And yeah, just the way it is now. I think they tried to experiment it with before, and it worked perfectly, when we had Yu and Moa together. So yeah, Momoko is amazing, but she's not huge, and Momoko Moa is not the same thing. So I don't think they will go this way back. They don't try to go back. They always go forward. So I think they will create a new concept that we couldn't even think of. I have no idea what. I certainly hope for collabs because Baby Metal are famous for doing a lot of collabs with so many great artists. I think we may have one more Sabaton collab. Why not? I believe they will do collab with Slipknot. I feel that it could be because, Corey is a big fan of them. They're good friends. So I certainly believe we will have at least 3 collab songs on new albums. Maybe with someone we've known before, maybe with some new bands. And one last wish I have, please just keep there. As Baz said, he's not a big fan of metalism. I love this song so much. So, you will never see two Baby Metal fans agree which song is the best or the worst. Yeah, I love Sisanger so much. It's my favorite Black Baby Metal. So, and the thing with metalism, why I love it so much, is just crazy insane. The reason I love Ine, the reason I love Tales of Destinies, and I want them to please at least one insane crazy song. It doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be, I don't know, funny, whatever. Just please keep it crazy. Just don't become a serious band with serious music. Just keep craziness level as it is now.
Very, very nice. You touched on collabs, and that's something I agree with you. I reckon we'll probably see another collab around the corner. But you obviously mentioned Slipknot and stuff like that. But if you had to pick a band, like if you could personally pick someone they would collab with, who would you go for? What would you like to see?
You know what would be totally epic, and it will just everyone will be just on the floor falling. Just get Love Bites as musicians and girls singing and dancing. This will be the ultimate collab of Japanese music. Or Nemophila. But I think Love Bites are closer to what they play in a musical way. I don't know.
I love Bites Baby Metal Crush. I could totally agree with that. So, what
Good's wives?
Yeah, that is. What about you, Mr. Baz? What did you same question, mate? Really?
In terms of direction, like Good said, we can all take guesses. It can literally go anywhere. We could all be right, we could all be wrong. Personally, I just hope they keep that same sort of like instrumentalization that they've sort of discovered with like the blend of like electronic and metal. Obviously, yeah, they've steered away with some of that kawaii stuff, which if they bring some of that back and they want to do like a BBM, attempt with Momoko and Ma, I don't think anyone would be against that because those songs do always tend to have that different sort of vibe than the main trio.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I don't know. I hope they just keep their influences with where they are now. Like obviously, when Maya first came out, people were comparing it to sort of like a Bring Me the Horizon-esque song.
Yeah.
Because it very much was. Very much had that sort of like modern Bring Me the Horizon feel with the synth, the bass in going through it.
Yeah. I said that a lot
the
in my
style
review,
and format
actually.
of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much like a Bring Me the Horizon track, and it sounds like obviously they have toured together. They know each other well. I'm pretty sure they're both fans of each other's music, so I would not be surprised if that's the case. And given how Bring Me the Horizon's music is now, I hope to God that they keep that as one of their influences because their music is just getting better and better. But with their future music, here's some intel for you guys. I've got some intel.
Ooh.
Apparently, there is an Australian artist who is in a band, a relatively big Australian band that has been approached to write for them, allegedly. The band is Make Them Suffer. If you've heard of that band,
Yep.
you know that they are fantastic. They also did a guest feature on the opening band's track, or one of the opening band's track for their Australian tour. But apparently, there are rumors that one of the writers from that band has been approached to help write some songs. So if that's the case, there's a lot of the influences are going to be crazy. That's all I'm going to say. I look forward to the experimentation.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. So, very. What about you, Funny? What would you? Oh, sorry. Actually, before we move on, Baz, if you could pick one collab with BABYMETAL.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't say Bring Me the Horizon. It's already happened. I can't say Polyphia. It's already happened. Shit. Sleep Token wouldn't happen. There wouldn't be much of a way to get that to happen. I would love that though, but it'd probably be Bad Omens.
Okay.
Or Polaris. That would be it.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Okay, and the same question for you as well, Fonny. Where do you see the direction going for the new album?
I think, obviously we were joking about this being a real album or a real concept album or whatever before. But I think, regardless of what it is musically, in terms of their messaging and marketing, they've been very intentional and clear about not referring to it as the fourth album. And so I wonder, why do they do that? And obviously a big clue in it is that, Momo's not in it. And so if we're talking about each album is the future of the band, it is kind of weird to have, we're on this council. We do not grant you the rank of master officially. My point is this is not an official album because it's a side album because Momo's not on it.
Hide the Padawans. I would
predict that Momo will be on the next album, and so I don't think her being on the next album would change that much. By that I mean it's not going to change the musical style, that much. That's not going to change whether or not they collab or not that much. I think we're going to see more diversity within the songwriting. What do I mean by that? I think she actually, I think someone mentioned, I can't remember who it was in this call earlier. Some of the songs felt like, they could have been from the first album, at least musically speaking, other voices, and some of the songs from Metal Resistance and some of the songs from Metal Galaxy. And I would definitely, agree with that. They've said as much in interviews. So, for example, Monochrome started, Believing are some of the oldest songs that they started being written, let's say 5 or 6 years ago. We don't know when they were finally recorded, but some of the songs are definitely older. However, at the same time, if we use Believing as an example, now, there's a lot of electronic effects and auto-tune on it, but to my ears, there's a lot of Moa vocals on it. It feels like she almost sings half the song. The whole, all the things she said, right, well, okay, hold on.
Again, I also mentioned that on my reaction. Literally, I said that during the song.
Okay, but that part sounds really, really Moa, right? And then the I just don't want to be afraid anymore. That also sounds like Moa to me. And so, even though it was, they may have been written a long time ago, and back then, definitely it was still, Sue 100%, right? Most of the time. But even for songs written long ago, I think they've already experimented with trying different things, mixing different vocals together when they recorded the other one. So that gives me a clue in terms of the next album. I think they would try to make better use of Moa and Momoko's voice. Not necessarily Black BABYMETAL duo songs. But I think at the very least, they would integrate all three voices together, much like they did in Believing. I think that's part of why it's one of my favorite songs. I think it's just a very good back and forth. It's like Sue sings a line, Moa sings a line, Sue sings a line, Moa sings a line, and that's a very nice contrast that I enjoy. So I think we're going to see more of that on the next album for sure. And I will, I don't know, maybe I'll burn my BM shirt if Momo is completely absent from the next album. Come on, no one does that. That'd be just cruel.
Would you be disappointed if we got the next album and that wasn't the case, and it was very much again 99% Sue and 1% Moa and Momoko? Would there be a slight disappointment from you?
No, not really. I think basically because whatever they do, it always ends up sounding good anyway.
Yeah.
So if they do something with all three voices, it's going to sound good. If they do something that's pure solo from the outset, it's going to be good as well. But I'm just saying they did a good job of it, I think, in Believing, for example. So I think that opened my mind to more possibilities because in the past, even during the Yui era, there wasn't so much harmonizing or back and forth with Sue. When we had, Make It Sing, Sue sings her thing, and then Moa and Yui cheerlead. But it's not really a duo, concept of voices singing together. But they did that in Believing and other songs. Or in some songs in Metal Galaxy where Moa has stronger harmonies, you know. So I think that's a more interesting way to go about doing things. Like I love the old songs with the I Know Te and the crowd pumping, but I think they don't have to write new songs like that. If they want that feeling in a set list, they can just play those old songs, you know. So they're going to keep on exploring new songs and new genres, like they said, always moving forward. They're not going to do the same thing over back again. Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
Before we move on as well,
go on.
I was pointing out quickly. You were mentioning believing and how the back and forth with what seems to be Moa and Sue. It's very much like that on Maya as well. In the chorus, you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
When
yeah. Say my name.
Moa goes, "Say my name." Sue's part, and then the back to the refrain, "Say my name." It's just it works. It works so well, and if obviously, like there appears to be the absence of Momoko on this album, but if they can combine the three in a song, it should work beautifully. Honestly, should work great.
Yeah, that's something new because they didn't really combine them in the first album. You know, it was always Sue does her thing, Yui and Mon do their thing. It's kind of separate. Like she sings very serious, and then you have kids, hey, like cheerleading. You know, so that was cool. That was fun, but it's not a full meshing. But I think they can do that. They can try to do that in the next album.
Yeah. A good answer, well presented, Funny. If you could pick a collab, what would your like sort of personal collab be for BABYMETAL?
Well, let's see. Their favorite songs of mine tend to be those with a more Japanese feeling. So two of my favorite songs are Megitsune, and then also Syncopation. I just feel the style of Syncopation, like this is absolute cliche, but it's really got this really anime feel to it. I can't really explain why. I think it's just the style of instrumentation and the way that the instruments kind of mellow out a little bit when the singer's vocal lines go. They try to emphasize the vocal lines. So I would like them to collaborate with a Japanese band. Most of their collaborations have all been with you know Western or other influences. So if they want to go like full Nekitsune, full Japanese style, like one of my favorite bands in Japan is actually the Wagaki band.
Oh yes.
And when they do collabs, you know, most of the time what they do is they take another band's instrumental style and then add, you know, Sue's vocals to it. So to me, that would be kind of like Megitsune taken to 11. And Megitsune is already one of my favorite songs. And I think combining the Wakaki band style with BABYMETAL vocals, but making it even heavier, that would totally hit the spot. Alternatively, another band that I really like recently is Man with a Mission.
Yeah.
They also do a lot of like anime style songs. Recently, they had a collab with Melee for the Demon Slayer anime, and I think that's something that they could do as well. I think it would feel again like an upgraded version of Syncopation, even though that's kind of hard to imagine because Syncopation is really damn good. Like I like that kind of style of song. I like them to try and collab and do a more Japanese thing because it's not that I don't enjoy their Western stuff, but I feel like they do things that only they can do. And one of the only things in metal, they're one of the only groups in metal that are able to utilize the Japanese influence very effectively. Like, just for example, like, let's say Bandmate. You know, I like Bandmate's music. I don't think it's... Some of it, I mean, I haven't listened to all of it, to be honest, but it doesn't feel very Japanese to me, per se. It feels more generic, and by generic I don't mean like in a bad way. I just mean like it doesn't feel Japanese specifically. It just feels like good rock and good metal. And most of the metal songs also aren't really Japanese, but I think they could make good advantage, of that if they wanted to. So that's just my personal preference. I love their Japanese style of songs, and they need to do it more.
Chat's already beating me to my collab. It was really, really good. I was going to say I would have gone for Love Bites first, but Good's taken that. Then I would have gone for Wagaki Band second, but Funny's already taken that. So I was going to mix it up and then say I would really, really love a Lisa collab with BABYMETAL. And the way that I see this song going in my head is like a Lisa versus Sue battle. I would just love the good like Momoko and Moa kind of going wild in the background, and I would love a backwards and forwards kind of like battle between Sue and Lisa. They're both so charismatic, and both got such great voices that I think sort of like a backwards and forwards with them two would just be absolutely kind of amazing, and I think it would be really, really good. If I was going to pick a Western artist, maybe not so much for the music, but just because I feel like they're getting on in years now, and also just because of their worldwide reach. I think it would be a hit everywhere commercially. Would be Metallica. I think they're probably a bit past their best now, but I feel like we probably haven't got that long left with Metallica. And just to get like a Metallica and BABYMETAL collab, I have no idea how that would go. I have no idea if it would be the best thing in the world. I don't, but just to have them two in one song, Wow We Can, would be amazing, to be honest. So I would like to see that. And I think that would be it would be one of those songs as well. I feel like would be a commercial success for both parties. That would be like a worldwide freaking phenomenon, I think. So that's what I would like to say. But yeah, there's so many bands I think that would be great for a collab. And I think
Maximum the Hormone.
I was gonna say Maximum the Hormone as well. I would definitely. I keep forgetting about Maximum the Hormone, but just because it's like the band that should not be named for like reactors at the minute. But
Really?
Yeah, they really hard on copyright strikes. We actually there's actually a friend of mine I do another show with, at his channel. He was like a couple of thousand subscribers, and they pretty much killed his channel within a day.
Jesus.
So yeah, so they've become known as the band that should not be named. So I'm so used to not talking about them that I kind of forget they're there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because that combination would be insane.
It would be. With the craziness for that would be absolutely mad. Also, Howard, if you're watching this, man, I'm so sorry. Like he mentioned it. He mentioned the band.
I mean, okay, I cannot just say I met them in person. They were absolutely nice to me, so I cannot say any bad thing about them. They laughed at me. They loved my BABYMETAL T-shirt, and they were so nice and smiley. So, I mean, as people, they're great. Maybe it's their label or whatever.
I would imagine it's probably the label. I doubt they would go out individually.
Yeah, labels are assholes, man.
Yeah, so it's always the fucking label in it. But yeah, it kind of sucks. So we're an hour and a bit in, which is pretty cool. Is there anything that you guys would like to add onto it, like anything that you guys would like to think or start a debate on quickly while we run down a bit of time? Then what I'll do is I'll take a couple of questions from chat if they have any, and then we will serenade our way out of here.
So I had a question I want to toss to the floor. Like, we were talking about songs we like and songs we don't like, and I have my preferences as well.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I think like Distortion is like not high on my list, and I think it's whenever I see it, because I was following the set list, before my show, and every single show was like Distortion over and over again. Like, oh my god, why do they keep playing? And Papaya as well. Like, they've literally played like Papaya every single chance they have. I was like, this is overplayed, man. Then at the show, I loved it. I loved all the songs. Every single song at the show. I think sounds great to me. I'm curious if that's the case for all of you guys.
Yeah, I think Papaya is like a crowd pleaser, though. I think it's one of those songs that like you might not listen on the record, but when you're there live, it's like a different beast, and you can't help but like just absolutely knacker your shoulder freaking out by by dancing with the towel and stuff like that. I think everybody has that, though. I think everybody has those kind of songs that you're like, I might not play that one too much on the record, but then when you hear it live, you're like, oh, it's fucking amazing. And I think Papaya is a good example of that one. To be honest, is there any songs from Baz or Good that you probably not particularly too keen on?
I mean, like, I know okay.
Apart from Future Metal,
old song.
Apart from Future Metal.
Thank God they did that. I would have bum rushed the stage, find Cobra and punched him. No, the one song that they did that was a real throwback was Ine, and like I don't really go much out of my way to listen to the old tracks now, but listening to that and it go from that kawaii intro to that rap drop to that insane death metal drop. Live, it was ridiculous. It sounded insane. The band was full. The vocals were nuts on the rap. They do the little chant for the stadium. So they did MCA because it's Margaret Corderina, and then you get Mo and Momoko going MCA. It was I'm like, oh, it's just it worked so well. Nah, even like I don't rate some of their songs as high as others, but it was hearing it live. I think is completely different than listening to it on like a on anything. It's just a completely different experience.
You know, a song that I seem that doesn't get much love, but a lot of hate and like a lot of like the tier lists and stuff I see my community do is Elevator Girl. What the English version specifically. Do you reckon you guys would like that line?
I'd like the Japanese version live, not the English version.
Why does the English version get so much hate? God,
because it's just shit.
You know what? We can agree that not every song can be perfect, you know. And honestly, I can agree partially with Elevator Girl. It just feels like for me personally, they made an album and they're like, oh, we just need like one more song. Oh, do you have anything left? Any riff and something? And someone, I have this, you know, this riff. And Sue's like, oh, actually, I saw this is kind of funny movie. And they're like, okay, let's do something out of this. So it just feels like they didn't really put much effort into making it. I mean, compared to others, of course, you know, still the song is better than 99% music elsewhere. But
sorry,
you know,
just before you go to the next song, the funny story about Elevator Girl is that during one of the interviews, there was like a 10 video selections where they asked, you know, the girls Koba and Kiko to talk about different, you know, music videos. And for Elevator Girl, literally like the commentary they had was, the US, you know, partner wanted us to film a music video to promote the song in the US. So we did it. That's it. That's all they say. There's no special story. There's no background. There's nothing music. You know, everything. They just said, yeah.
Nothing screams more. The label made us do it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like,
you can feel it.
What Paul was saying, the English version was unnecessary. Like the song is fine in Japanese because it's like a throwback to that sort of kawaii age. But like the English translation, like I think someone said, apparently, like wasn't it mistranslated a little bit here and there?
Yeah, apparently so.
I wouldn't call it a mistranslation. They were trying to go for something different, I'd say. But I don't think it
I just didn't
well.
like how it hit. Yeah. Whereas, like, you get a song with that similar sort of vibe, like Data Dance. Song's great.
It's just very hard to translate songs, just because the rhythm of the lyrics just doesn't hit differently when it's designed to be Japanese. So, you know, it is what it is. Yeah.
I think they should have just left that English version now and just gone. But of course, the label made us do it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious then, how about the one English version?
I love the one. I love the English version. It has, like, I think in the Japanese version has just about as much emotion. That's something English, I don't know. They both feel emotional. The lyrics are really strong on the English version. Whereas on Elevator Go, hey girl, get ready, we're going down.
Yeah, well.
You know about the one?
Life can be such a pain in the butt.
It's
yeah.
But you know about the one English version? I mean, they told many times that this was song for fans, and obviously they know how big they are outside Japan, so it was just a nice gesture to make it in English as well. So I think this is example of when it's actually fitting. And you know, like some people say less is more, and if it was the only song they did an English version, and not like if no more English version existed, it would be perfect, because just the only time they actually did translation. Yeah, I can agree that like Elevator English was a bit unnecessary. And now when you just hear English version, you remember, oh, there was the one and Elevator Girl, and you're like, why? Why these two? Like they should have stopped on the one.
I think I've managed to sort of just block out Elevator Girl English. I just forget it exists.
Yeah, I think most people do. I always see it at the bottom of everybody's list, which is why it's like it's become a bit of a meme in my Discord. Elevator English version of Elevator Girl, just like everybody hates it. Oh my.
Now I'm curious then, because Leaving is English song.
So I think it's just literally.
I think it's purely English actually. I don't know if anyone has particular thoughts about that.
Is it?
I think so. It's all in English. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just the English version of Elevator Girl that gets a bit of flack, to be honest, or at least it does in my community. I can't say that for everywhere, but I think from what I can see from like the.
I just think it's interesting because like I don't really realize believing is all in English until I really think about it, and so I think that what that means is it's not because a song is in English that sounds poorly. It has to be designed to be English from the ground up, and then they can make it work. But they can't write a Japanese song and then just change the lyrics afterward. Like believing is perfect the way it is, but it's all in English. But I don't think you realize it's actually all in English until you look at the lyrics.
Yeah, it doesn't sound it.
I'm sure they
But
have
I think you're
more
right.
full English songs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you like to see more English songs in the future? Is that something you guys have thought about or not thought about?
If done well, like if they're written to be English and not written, you can tell the difference when a song's written in Japanese. The whole pacing and of the lyrics is off sometimes.
For a song like Megitsune, when it's very Japanesey song with folk instruments, of course you cannot put English lyrics there. But when it's sounding like a metalcore or some Western style of music, yeah, why not? And sometimes just give this song to someone who doesn't know about baby metal, they will never guess it's a Japanese band. So I think this is what they also want to do. They want to have several songs that people don't really understand where are they from. I mean, I don't think I like it. I think it's kind of cool to, oh, look, we are from Japan. This is good when you instantly can feel this. But maybe some people, for some reason, they just, by default, I don't want to hear Japanese music. There are some people like this, but then they listen to this one, they're like, oh, it was pretty good. And you say, oh, they're Japanese. And they're like, oh, wow, I did not expect this. So I think this is a good marketing strategy as well. Why not?
Yeah, I fall on either side. Their songs could be completely in Japan and Japanese, and I'd be happy with that. A few English songs, I'd also be happy with that as well. I think overall, especially marketing wise, especially if you want to break the commercially, if you want to break the American English, kind of European scene a little bit more. I think having an English song helps. But I wouldn't say I'm like, oh, they have to have an English song. I don't think they need to have one at all. If they make one, I'd be very happy to. But I don't feel like it's necessary.
I think the way they got it with mostly Japanese and bits of English here and there. Like Pishna says, BMC could have English words. It does, believe it or not. But it works fine.
Yeah, I think there's a difference.
It works great.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between having English words in the song that are meant to be there for that hook. I was talking about this on with Howard on my other channel. Oh, go and subscribe to Is to Use, by the way. While I get the shout in, and we were talking about this about Japanese songs having English hooks. And so there's something just really pleasant about hearing a Japanese song, but then having that 2-second chorus of "Let's go" or something like that in the middle of the song that you can just kind of bob along to, and it's just it doesn't feel out of place. And it's become a really, really common thing now in Japanese music where they have that English hook kind of in there, more as just something to bob along to more than anything else. Just something that is instantly recognizable for that song, which is really, really cool. How do you guys feel about that as well? Because Baby Metal do that a hell of a lot through all their entire history. Is that something you continue to hope that they do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it works fine as it is.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly. And then you look to something let's look at an outside collab with Bring Me the Horizon. That first half of that verse is English, and then the second half was Japanese, and it worked brilliantly.
Yeah.
That little spice of an outer culture, language wise, in a completely English song, is really nice. Same as it would be an entire Japanese song with an English hook. It is combined the best of both worlds. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, Kingslayer probably could be named as the perfect example of collab, how it's supposed to be. So bands from totally different worlds with totally different music, absolutely different vocals, and how it perfectly blends together. So this is what I like to see. And maybe this is actually the clue. They see success of Kingslayer comparing to other songs. I think they see how much more popular it is. So maybe they will be looking into this direction,
So the possibility is always there. I think Baby Metal Parkway Drive collab would be pretty fucking amazing as well.
Yeah. Talking about Australian bands.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice.
Affliction is crazy.
So,
Yeah. Can I just go back for a second? We were talking about like most and least favorite songs. I wanted to say one example. Like I remember a couple years ago, we were having fun with all these ratings, and so you just do the list of your top 1 to list. And I remember my least favorite was Papaya, I think, and second to last was Song 4, and Loon was very unhappy about it. And I realized myself that when I was doing this list, I was thinking about just, you go and just listen to the song. But I completely didn't think about the personal experience, like live experience. And this is what all of you told, that some songs are just meant to be seen live. Like, no matter how I like or don't like Papaya, when they started playing it live, I got towel. I was jumping as crazy. I probably had more fun than any other song there. And this is exactly what you just cannot think of a song just as a song. You have to, know this experience. And the same for Song 4, just musically, I don't think it's like the most genius thing they done. But after seeing live, after seeing Blu-rays, of all the concerts and the interaction with crowd, they probably will never play it live again. I don't think so. But I would imagine myself just singing Yon Yon with everyone and having like much fun. So yeah, we have to consider like live as well a lot.
Yeah, I think Baby Metal are probably one of the standout bands for that. I think a lot of their catalog is very much like to be experienced live. I think that harkens back to the Sakura Gakuin days with their style of songwriting, where the crowd always got involved with the chanting and the cheering, touching on what Funny said before. And I feel like that's translated through every stage of Baby Metal, I think, since from the beginning to now, where the interaction with the crowd is something really, really special, to be honest, and I really, really like it. Right, we're touching on about that time. So what I want to do is I want to try and see if we can get some questions from the wonderful people in chat. If you want to interrogate somebody, be it Funny, Good, or Baz, pick a person who will be your test subject, and ask away. Ask away, and we'll see if you guys can ask a few questions on that one. While we're taking a break, while we're waiting for a chat to think of a few things to ask, I want to say a big thank you for all my guests as well being here. I really, really appreciate it. If you're watching this podcast and you made it this far as well, don't forget to like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. You can follow Funny, Mr. Good, and Baz all on different socials that they'll give me after the stream. Link will be in the description down below. So if you like any of these guys enough that you want to go and follow them, please go and do so. Or if you don't agree with their opinions, you can follow them and go and harass them. No, please don't do that. But either way,
I welcome it. Bring it on.
Either way,
waiting for you.
Either way, go and follow them.
See you soon.
I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, Paul had a question.
Hey, oh, hang on. I asked one, scroll up a bit. Sorry, my chat on this phone. It's the first time I've been on Kick on my phone. It's crazy. I'm trying to find Paul now. Can we ask the guys about their feelings of seeing the US Kami band instead of the Japanese Kami band? What were your guys' feelings on that?
Good question, actually. May I start?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So the thing is that for some reason they decided to do this thing. So they have Japanese band only in Japan, I guess, and for rare occasions they were like abroad. And as much as I'm a fan of Omura, and obviously I want to see Bob playing the 6-string bass live, and everyone else, I don't think there is really a big difference in a way, because they are all world level professionals, Kami in Japan, and these guys there, some of them were playing in other very famous bands, and Baron as a drummer is just absolute machine. And I'm actually, I was happy to see Baron live more than, Hideki in a way. At the same time, I would love to see Omura. So like personally, I have favorite musicians in both of Kami bands. So no matter which set of Kami, I will be happy because I get to see someone I really like. And yeah, Baby Metal will never allow anyone who is not good enough to play their music to be there. So yeah, I don't think you would hear any difference. Like everyone has very different play style, even if they play the same song. But unless you specifically focus on it, you won't hear a difference. So, no one will be disappointed, 100%.
Yeah. What about you, Funny? What do you?
Go on.
Sorry. Go on, Baz, if you want to go.
Oh, I was just gonna say he's pretty spot on with that. Like,
Yeah.
especially nowadays, they wear the masks. You can't really, unless you look at the instruments, you can't really tell the difference.
Yeah. But so I feel like they kind of knew about this beforehand, whether or not obviously the Japanese Kamis had said, hey, we've got so many things going on, we can't keep touring around the world all the time. It felt like them tucking the Kamis away and having the Western Kamis is definitely something I feel like they've kind of pre-prepared for, like to tone down their hype and have the Western Kamis come in and kind of pull the limelight on them a little bit. If there's anything that happens with Baby Metal anymore, I think it's pretty accurate to say that it's done for a reason. And even though we don't agree with it at the time, now in Cobra, I feel like you kind of see those decisions kind of play out about a year or two later. And then you go, oh, right, okay. So that's where it was going. So you kind of can tell that they've kind of done it. I kind of personally would agree with Good in some segments of that. I wouldn't be disappointed with whichever I got. To be honest, I have more of a personal preference for the Japanese Kami, so I would more like to see Amora, just because I think he's just phenomenal and just out of this world. But like, yeah, you can't be mad at whoever you get. They're all so talented, and like I said, I feel like Cobra's done such a good job now of kind of hiding the Kamis away a little bit more, that when you're live and you're focusing on Sumo and Momo now, that it's, your attention really is kind of on the girls now. You kind of don't feel like you're pulled away all that much anymore to see the Kamis as much as you probably were for the first couple of years.
So basically, no matter which set of Kami we get, please put them on stage closer so we can see them. That's why I was so happy that it happened there. Unfortunately, I don't think they're doing this for big shows, or at least in Japan, so you never see musicians, at least on Blu-rays. I was specifically looking for them. Nope, they are not existing there. So, Koba, please show us musicians. We love them as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel that's the benefit, I think, for smaller shows. Definitely, I think you get to see a lot more of the Kami band, which is really, really good. So yeah, we watched the Blu-ray actually on stream the other day, and it was like if even the split shots of the Kami, like if it wasn't for the flashing freaking strobe lights, I wouldn't have been able to tell they were there. They were shrouded in darkness, tucked away in the back corner. I'm like, holy crap. So, but what about you, Fuddy? What's your take on that?
I mean, I agreed with Good and Baz for sure in terms of whoever they get has always been really good. And actually, I was reading through one of their earliest interviews, like in 2013 in Hedoban, because that's when they first started using the Kami band, full time from the Baby Bones. And actually, in that interview, Koba already mentioned flexibility. I was like, yeah, so like, how do you decide on who gets, who plays whoever? And it's kind of like, kind of whoever's available, because like schedules and all that. So we need to be flexible. So word of mouth is how they get a group of good musicians to work with. But as to who goes on which tour or whatever, is part of it. It's just very practical concerns, whoever's available and all that. So I think the idea that the Kamis are interchangeable, kind of, to do the job has always been there. In the beginning, we've just all fallen in love, with the Eastern Kamis, understandably, just because they're so charismatic. I think that was never the intent, and so, who knows? But I think in terms of the actual performance and the actual music itself, like I agree, I don't have any complaints about that. And so I actually want to share a story with my friend, because I actually went to the Taiwan show with a friend of mine, and this friend of mine actually learned of Baby Metal in 2014. He's from the heavy metal side. And he actually met them because he was working at a music, like rehearsal space, and like Baby Metal came to Taiwan in 2014 to do a collab with a Taiwanese heavy metal band, and they actually went to the rehearsal space that he was working at, and so that's where he actually got a offstage casual photo with them out of character.
Jesus.
Lucky man.
And so he didn't even realize like how rare that photo is until I told him. I don't think he really still believes it. But I'm like, dude, everyone in this community would kill to be in your spot. But anyway,
we literally would.
Like, he came from the metal side, so like he was really looking forward to hopefully seeing the Japanese commies because he's always been a fan of their style. So at first he was, when I told him that it's going to be the Western commies, he was disappointed that it wasn't who he's looking forward to. Then after I talked to him about who was there and all that. As we were talking, I actually saw Barone just walk out like in a t-shirt, into the venue, and like no one recognized him. You're just walking around like casually chilling, and I think that was kind of cool and all that. And I said, dude, that's him. I was like, who? What? And I showed him on Instagram, like Anthony Barone, and I realized he was already following him on Instagram. He just didn't realize he was also playing for Baby Metal. So the point is, he was already following. He loves his style of drumming. So at the live show, he was totally pleased, with the performance of the Western commies, at the show, all that. So he became a new convert to the Western commies too. So I agree that masks or not, I want to be able to see them. And actually at the show, I do recall like they did give them some mini spotlights at times when they were noodling around a bit. My memory could be deceiving me at this point because I didn't take a single video myself. I do kind of recall that happening. I do like them, like during Megitsune and stuff, during the call and response. They've started adding their own little twirls and styles and flourishes, mini solos at the time. And I think that's cool. That's different from the 2020 tour when they were kind of there to just play the songs perfectly. Now the Western commies, I think, are starting to have their own style and flair musically too. And I think that's a good thing to see, and I'm looking forward to see more of it.
Yeah. I was just reading some of the comments here as well. I love how like Baz gets asked, "Hey, you buying the Baby Metal golf balls?" No, he's buying himself a lightsaber instead. This is it. Hey!
Nice.
So I could totally relate.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, let's fight.
I guess I'm the weird person here who just buys merch. Actually, I can show you something.
Yeah,
spot
the nerds in the room.
While we're on off topic as well.
So I just went old school, so I got.
Ooh! Oh, man, I
wow.
like that. That was the top I picked up as well. That's so good.
And yeah, so the thing is, they basically combined Sabaton, Lordi, and Baby Metal into one logo because it was their combined tour. So you can see Sabaton mask combined with Kitsune in a way. It's kind of cool.
That's cool.
And this one is also from same show, so it's also like Baby Metal, Sabaton, Lordi in a way combined into one thing. Yeah. And this is quite unique because, it's not a Baby Metal tour, so I think it's even more unique to have. Yeah, this one I actually bought for Urchi, and I still haven't sent it to him. I promised to do this, so it's a hoodie with also this logo.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, just like hoodie with logo and all this cool stuff. Yeah. Urchi, I promise I will send it to you someday.
Someday. He's going to keep it for himself. No, I literally had to run to 3 merch stores just to get the fucking hat. I went to the first merch store and I queued up for like literally half an hour and I got 2 t-shirts. I was like, yes. And I was like, can I have the hat as well? Like, oh, we're sold out the hat. And I was like, no. And I went to a second one and literally didn't have any hat. I actually missed a little bit of Sabaton open. Like 2 songs of Sabaton opening because I literally went all the way around the building all the way to the back to like the last merch store. I was like, please have a hat, please have a hat, please have a hat. And then I got that. It was quite funny because I had Ashy and Hades coming with me, like just like waiting for me until Sabaton started, and then they're like, yeah, see you later, Neil. I'm like stood here like, please have a fucking hat. But it was worth it in the end. I was like, "Can I have a hat?" And they were like, "Yes, we got a hat left." And I was like, "Yes!" That was all I wanted. Was the hat, and I got a couple of shirts as well, which was really, really cool. But the mission for the hat was a long and arduous one. So
The t-shirt that I wanted, it was like a retro one. They didn't have it in my size. I was like, they have it in 2XL. I'm like, that'd be cool to frame. But I'm like, I'm not gonna frame a t-shirt that cost me like $75. I'm gonna buy one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is rubbish, man. Damn it. So I still like this one. This one's nice and cool. So
yeah, that was
Nice
really
one.
cool.
got
That
the
was really
lore in
cool.
it.
What kind of? Oh, sorry, excuse me. What type of merch was there at the Taiwan shows? Funny.
I mean, basically the same as they had, I think, throughout the Asia and Australia tour. So there were 3 different kinds of T-shirts. I'm actually wearing one of them here. This one's by Isana Kagami, the black ink.
Oh, that one looks good.
Yeah,
Nice
Yeah,
one.
yeah. There are
that
2
one.
other ones, but they didn't sell a hoodie here. They sold one in Australia, I
They
guess,
didn't have
but they didn't sell
hoodies there?
one here. We didn't have hoodies. I was so disappointed. So they sold the hat, 3 different T-shirts, and then I think keychains, and then bracelets, and the towel. And you were only allowed to buy 1 towel each, and they still sold out.
What?
But yeah.
Ooh.
I was just like, bring more towels. You're gonna sell towels? Come on. But
Everyone
I
needs a
was-
towel in their life. Come
I,
on.
was, I didn't actually want a towel myself, but I was supposed to get a towel for a friend, and they ran out by the time I got there.
no, that
So
sucks. I had a choice. The hoodies were like insanely expensive. Like I had the choice of either 1 hoodie or 2 shirts, and I decided more was better, and got 2 shirts instead of 1 hoodie.
it also only took cash too. That was a pain in the ass.
Oh really?
Really?
Oh,
They had-
fuck.
We had to
took
stock
card
up
for
on
us.
we had to stock up on cash beforehand.
Oh,
Before
Really?
the show.
we
And
had
then
a
after
ca-
actually,
we had
funny
a
story.
card.
Yeah. After the show, because I was the show was not in my city. It was in the city where my brother lives. So after the show, I actually went to his place to stay over the night. Then I showed him the merch and I showed him the receipts. And he looks at the receipts and he's like, "Oh, dude, this is I know this this company. Like, so it's apparently one of his friends, like, or their friends' parents or uncles, wherever they do these merch shows. Like, you know, when people like Ed Sheeran or wherever come to Taiwan,
Yeah.
they work with them to produce merch and sell merch. So sometimes in the past he's gotten invitations. Hey, do you want to come to this place and help sell merch and all that? And they'll go and do that. Oftentimes, whenever there's leftover merch, they're just like, yeah, you know, take it and just give it away to friends and family. And I was like, please tell me if there's any leftover Baby Metal merch. I don't think there's gonna be any, but if there are, you know, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I think we've hit that. I think we've hit that sweet spot. To be honest, I think we're an hour and a half in. I think this is really, really cool. Again, do you guys have anything you'd like to add before we start closing up?
There was one question to me.
Yeah, go on.
Like, was there any song better than Shine? And again, you know the answer. Shine is the best song in the world. Nothing ever will beat it in future. So no, Shine is the best still.
So that needs to be a meme.
Keep them happy. We'll leave that there.
Yeah, we'll leave it. We'll not contest that. We'll leave good on a high note. And on this brilliantly high note, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Podcast Desk. I got some more couple of episodes coming up, obviously, as we lead up to the full Baby Metal tour that they'll be doing in Europe and all that very, very soon. I am going to see them in London. So we'll, and hopefully meet a few more people as well across the place and get my passport and all that sorted. So that's going to be lots of fun. So I promise leading up to that, there's not going to be a massive gap in episodes for Podcast Desk as there has been. Because we didn't really have much to talk about until obviously the tours have got on the way, which has been amazing. But you guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for being on. I really, really appreciate each of you saying yes and coming and talk about your Baby Metal experiences and stuff like that for the first time. Are any of you going to see Baby Metal again for any of the other tours coming up?
Whenever they come back here, yeah.
Whenever
Don't know
they-
when that's gonna be.
Yeah, I was quite surprised, to be honest. I was like, I seen them and I thought they would go tour in America and all that again. So the fact that they're back here again in November, like twice in 6 months, I was like, fucking hell, yeah, I'll take that.
Is this a headline tour now though? Or
Yeah, they're headlining the next one.
yeah, that's why. That's why, because that
Yeah.
Sabaton tour obviously wasn't a headline.
But
So they
I
have
was
like
just,
one
I
of
was
the
just really
venues.
surprised because I fully expected them to be touring the US first instead of Europe. It's usually
They will.
usually the case. Oh,
They
really?
they will have they're having
both.
they're having before Europe tour they are going to US to Death Clock with them, so it's
Yeah,
a
the-
baby
oh,
baby
yeah,
clock
yeah.
tour. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to States now, and they're coming back to Europe. And I have tickets for Vienna and Cologne. So at least
I
two.
actually
Oh,
can't
yeah.
believe how quick that is then. So, because that's what I mean. I was like, I was just really, really shocked. I did not expect them to be back in Europe for at least a year. The fact that they're even doing a US tour and then back in them within 6 months, that's pretty fucking incredible. Hopefully that
They're
doesn't.
really throwing Momo into the deep end.
Yeah, they're really
That
just
is- yeah.
balls to the walls.
She's
Sink or
ready.
swim, new girl.
Yeah, you're like, hey, you go, you're a full metal now. Now get working. Yeah, that's Cobra. But yeah, I was really, really surprised with that. Just like how quick they're coming back. But in hindsight, I'm really, really enjoying it. I also think they're slightly doing it on purpose. And the reason why I think they're over touring or being as quick as they possibly are is because I personally foresee, again, speculation, complete guess here, but I totally see like a 20, probably end of 2024, maybe tease to a new album. And that's where I see this going. I see them trying to tour now as much as they can until like mid to 2024, take 6 to 8 months off, tease a new album. Once that releases, then I reckon they'll go back on tour again at some point late 2024. That's kind of what I think anyway. Maybe speculation.
Gotta
Only
remember all
the
the COVID
folks
years
that
we had off
knows.
as well.
Or maybe even 2025 actually, because so they'll probably tease it about late 2024. They'll probably release it and then they'll probably so maybe 2025 I reckon, maybe. But I reckon we'll hear something from new album, because what they usually like to do is they usually like to give the girls a couple of months kind of rest before doing it all over again, which is good. So that's what I think they're doing anyway. And then obviously everybody's all hyped and now for Momo being on the new album as well. So I don't think the wait is as long as people think it's going to be, but that's again pure speculation. But yeah,
After going to the show, if they come around, I'm definitely going to go. I think they're only going to ever come to an Asian country like once a year at most. That being said, I mean they have the whole so-called tour finale, in Japan.
yeah.
And we're expecting that's going to be early 2024. So that's close enough where I'm saving up to see if it's possible to see them, in Japan. There's a lottery and all that, but
That'd be amazing.
That's a
fingers
dream.
crossed.
That would be. Like I said, hopefully that will be a dream for me as well. So in order to make that happen, smash that YouTube button, subscribe to the channel, get me to 100.
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah, get me to 100,000 subscribers with a YouTube button, and I can start actually earning some goddamn YouTube money. And then maybe that could be a reality. But thank you so much, guys, for being here. If you've enjoyed this podcast, again, don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys have been amazing. Again, go and follow the guys on all the socials. The link will be in the description down below. I want to say a big thank you to everybody as well to everybody in the Kick chat right now. You guys are awesome. Hopefully you guys will. Oh, we've lost Funny. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's back. Oh, okay. I'm not doing that again. But yeah, stay amazing, guys. I really, really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. See you.